Okay, hello everyone. Hope you're having a lovely weekend today. So Medlink Students has decided to organize today's webinar to help you and give you advice and insight on studying medicine and dentistry abroad and in Europe, starting from September. During this conference, you'll learn about the opportunities available for studying abroad and all the avenues and all the paths open and available for you with regards to following your dream. And you'll be able to ask as many questions as you like towards the end. And during the Q&A section, during the webinar in the Q&A section. So we've appointed some of our expert advisors to answer your questions in the Q&A in real time, so keep them coming. I'll also answer any specific questions that might come up live during the presentation. So today we have a great lineup of doctors, students, and advisors. I'll be your host this evening. I'll be introducing everyone and asking everyone about their experience to give you insight and advice about which route and which path suits you best abroad. So with us, we have Edmund, who is one of our senior student advisors. He helps hundreds and thousands of students study abroad and find the options that are available for them. We have Dr. Sam, who will be joining a little bit later. We have Amy, who's also an influencer and a medical student as well, and has helped and advised many students like you before. We also have Azad, who is studying currently in Romania. We have Nikita, who's studying in Bulgaria. We have Megana in Georgia. So all these students, all these advisors, everyone here is solely available today to give you as much advice and insight so you can make an informed decision on what's best for you. So today we'll be discussing quite a range of topics based on the interest that we've received from you in the forms that you submitted. So we'll be just introducing ourselves. Then we'll talk about the advantages of studying abroad. We'll talk about the universities and the education system and how it is different from your country, such as the UK, USA, or any other country. We'll talk about the courses and then the admission requirements and how students can get accepted abroad. We'll also talk about how we can help you and what we offer. We'll discuss with you the tuition fees, the living costs. This will come from our students who will give you first-hand experience based on what they've experienced during their years abroad. And we'll talk to you about recognition and how universities have been coping with the recent pandemic and how they've adapted. And finally, talking about coming home as a doctor and doing your clinical rotations in UK, USA, or any other country. And then at the end, you'll get an opportunity to ask as many questions as you like. So first of all, we'll talk to you about who we are. So Medlink Students is a group of doctors and medical students who pursued studying medicine or dentistry abroad. We decided to set up this organization to facilitate and streamline the processes involved with getting admission abroad, moving abroad, settling in, and getting the right support up until you graduate. So we're the leading international students' choice for 2 consecutive years. We've been trusted. A lot of students, thousands of students have trusted us and come to us with lots of questions and help. And we've always been there available to give them first-hand experience based on what we went through when we first set up this organization and what our students as well go through on a daily basis. We have advisors for each specific university that will always give you information and all the insider tips on what is the best choice for you. So our mission is to make sure that you are as knowledgeable, as informed as possible so you can make the best choice on what is best for you. We're student-oriented. We try to always have the spirit of being doctors and students who will always advise you and give you all the information that you need. So I would like to start first of all with Edmund, who is our senior advisor, who will talk to you a little bit about the advantages of studying medicine or dentistry abroad. Because a lot of students, when they come to us, they ask us, why should I go abroad? Or what are the opportunities abroad that are better than my home country? So Edmund?
Thank you, Osman, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We're all really excited to have you with us tonight. We have really great panelists, and we hope from tonight you can get some valuable information to perhaps make the best decision for you. Now, going abroad, I mean, you know, there's never been a better time studying abroad. You know, a lot of students who come to us are inspired by, you know, family members, or they've always wanted to pursue medicine or become dentists. Now, in the UK, there were over 30,000 applications for medical schools. That's a very high number, and that's risen from 23,000. So the competition is very fierce out there. And going abroad, you know, it's a very daunting task for most students. You know, you're leaving your family for the very first time. You don't know what to do, which university to look at, which university has the highest rating, and really what you're going to be expected. So there are a lot of things to consider when you're going abroad. But what are the benefits of studying abroad? Well, one of the good things, the degrees also still allow you to come back to your home country. So in the UK, you can come back, register with the medical council or register with the dental council. The courses are all taught in English that we help with. The admission process is very, very streamlined. We help you with that. We provide you with the skills and the necessary tools that you need to get through the entry test. And the tuition fees are quite affordable as well. So tuition fees can range from anything from 4,000 euros all the way to 20,000. And then you can apply to as many universities as you'd like. But we go through them with you to help you find the most suitable one for you. And to be honest with you, most of the universities have great facilities there. You know, you get to join other students who are like-minded like you. You get to join research groups. You get to join other social aspects of it all. So there is a lot that you'll gain going abroad. You become quite independent, you know, going abroad. You go out of your comfort zone. You work in different hospitals and see different types of patients. So coming back to your home country, you'll be very, very ready to really start working. So there are hundreds other that we can talk to you about tonight. And we can't wait to talk to you about all the other things, all the other experiences out there for you guys. Over to you, Osman.
All right, brilliant. Thank you, Edmund. That's fantastic. So as you can see here, there's so much advantages and so much positives about going abroad that hundreds and thousands of students have decided that this was the path for them. And many people have graduated and returned back to their countries successfully without any issues. And they've loved the journey. I can tell you from my personal experience as well. I studied in Bulgaria and I loved the journey. I loved the exploring a new culture, learning a new language. Even though it might seem daunting at first, it's always a huge benefit, even though you don't see it, but it is in the big picture. Maybe you don't see it at the start, but in the big picture, it has so much benefits that you will hear from our students themselves on this a little bit later on. So to go on to the next slide, I would like to also explain to you here a little bit about the paths and give you a general overview. It's impossible to give you all the details in such a short time, but we'll give you an overview and then you can contact us and get more information about which path suits you best. So there are three popular paths to studying medicine abroad or dentistry as well. There's the undergraduate path, where you graduate from high school, or even if you graduate from university, you can still enter there, where you study medicine for 6 years, which is always 6 years here in Europe, and dentistry sometimes 6 years, sometimes 5 years. Usually the 6th year is a placement year where you are doing fully, the majority of the year is practical. Then you have graduate entry, where people like Amy, for example, who will come in a little bit later on, she will tell you about how she had a graduate entry. And in this path, you can usually skip the first year or two based on the amount of credits that you have from your previous bachelor's course or higher education diploma. So usually you can pass on these credits if it is a science-related course and the subjects are related to medicine. So there's also a university transfer, if you say, for example, you go to study medicine in Bulgaria and you wish to change and go to Romania for any reason, there's always that opportunity as well. Edmund, would you like to expand a little bit on what I said?
Yes. I mean, for undergraduate students who want to, start medicine for the very first time, you finish your A levels, or even if you have BTECs, those can be considered. We can look into that. We have to make sure that you've got the specific grade requirements. So whatever it is you feel you've got, or whether your predicted grades are, let us sit down, let's have a look and see. Now, for the students that do graduate entry, we can also look at your degree, what classifications you have, what you've done, how many years you studied for, any other experiences that you have. And then also, if you end up transferring from one medical university to another, let us look at what you have and make sure that you've got the right thing, so that you go to another university that you'll feel more comfortable in. Because it may be that going from studying in one university, the experience might not be great for you, and that's okay. We have to make sure that you have the right environment to go to overall, because it's not just about finding any good university, it's about finding the right university for you to transfer to. Back to you, Esmond.
All right, thank you, Edmund. So yes, there are so many paths and so many ways for students to study abroad that it's an abundance and people don't have an excuse really. There's so much opportunity out there. You just have to spread your wings and explore the world and just be courageous a little bit, even though it might be daunting at first. Again, our students will explore that with you a little bit later on. So to show you how much opportunity and how much paths there are out there, it's so vast that even if you think that maybe there's no opportunity for you, you will be surprised that there are so many opportunities available for you that would suit you best. And that's where we come in. We try to advise you and tell you the positives and the negatives of each place, so you can make an informed decision and choose on which university would suit you best. So for example, recently in the past few years, universities like, for example, Dnipro Medical Institute has been a huge popular option for students from the UK, because it's affordable, because it has versatile programs, and it offers lots of pros as well. Bulgaria as well has been a huge, it was one of the first, actually, one of the first countries to introduce studying medicine in English. And universities like Sofia, Plovdiv, Trakia, probably you've heard of these universities. If you haven't, then you can research them. You will see there's so much information about them. And that's what we're here for, to give you all that information. In Poland as well, students go to Georgia as well. Georgia has been a recently popular one as well. There's plenty of universities there. However, we've told you here about the most popular one, which is European University of Tbilisi. Romania has also been an option because it's very affordable, with the tuition fees of only about 5,000 euros. Germany as well, for students that would like to go explore the German culture, and many other universities. We've only handpicked a few here, the ones that are most popular. But maybe you will find one that is not so popular that would suit you best. So you can come and talk to us about this. There's so much opportunity, there's so much options. There's really no excuse for you to miss out on your dream, to miss out on what you've always loved to do, whether that is medicine, dentistry, or anything related. There is the opportunity there, and many students have done it before you. You're not going to be the first, you're not going to be the last. So come join us and hear about all these students' journeys, so you can see and get a feel of what it would be like for you. University that's been extremely popular, especially this year as well. Many students have been expressing lots of interest in this university, specifically because it's very well accredited. It has a very good reputation, and the teaching is phenomenal there, with lots of practical and hands-on experience. It's called the European University of Tbilisi. And I will spare the information for Megana to tell you, based on her experience, or Dr. Megana, who has recently graduated this year. Megana, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Brilliant. All right, go ahead. Tell us a little bit about your experience there and why you chose this university specifically.
Yeah, sure. So as everyone, Osman introduced me. My name is Meghna, and I'm a recent medical graduate from the European University Tbilisi. So one question everyone always has is that, and it comes into mind, is that if going to abroad is safe, or is it worth it, or can we even afford it and all. But there are many options in the abroad which are actually affordable and are very nice. So life is all about taking risk, isn't it? So I just decided to take one. So I had a wonderful experience pursuing medicine in this university. So lecturers are very cooperative and supportive in the academics, and university also has many tie-ups to the many hospitals. So it helps students to gain more exposure with the patient, and also they have tie-ups to the research centers where we can do the research under the supervision. So personally, I have participated and I have done one of the research with my lecturer as one of the assistant, and we start mostly our clinical practice during the third year. So it's like the 3 years for theory and the 3 years for the practical knowledge. So, and we can also assist many operations too. And along with this, we also have conferences which are conducted by our university as well as in the other universities too. So we can go through our university, and then it is also a very great opportunity to share the knowledge, and also to share and also to take up or uptake the knowledge from them. And we also get the participation certificates and prizes and all. So apart from this, we also have exchange programs in many European countries, and now they are expanding to even Asian countries. So we can see how the other university students work and also experience the curriculum which they are going for a very shorter time. So I personally went to Turkey for 1.5 weeks and it was very great. And also we went to Baku for some English conference, which was also very nice. And also we earn a scholarship based on our academic performances. So apart from this, it is too much about curriculum, right? So extracurricular activities, we also have, like to feel that we are in our home. So we gather together and we also have many festivals, and we celebrate festivals together. And we also have sports activities, and we also go and we have a playground, and to release our tension we go and play some sports like basketball or volleyball, etc. So in the starting I was very skeptical about coming to abroad, but now I feel like I have chosen the right path. And during this pandemic it was very hard for everyone, not only for us. And they, in the starting, like in the 2020, from March to September, we had online. So after that, they told that medicine should be taken offline. So we were called back to Georgia, and we had online and offline. It was partial. So it's like for the people who are having clinical subjects, we were going to hospitals, and we were going like that. And recently it was compulsory that the first last semester students to go for all the subjects, we have to go to the hospitals for sure. And they took all the precautions, and we were actually given a VIP treatment. So when I just look back this past 6 years, it was actually a roller coaster ride. I feel very thankful to tell my experience, and I thank Osman and the Medlink to give this opportunity for me to share my knowledge with you. If any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Fantastic, brilliant. It must have been an amazing journey for you, Meghana, especially for the past 6 years, studying medicine, becoming a doctor, and going back home now to work and contribute and give back to the community and to society. Amazing, inspirational story there. All right, so let's go on to the next university here. What do we have? Okay, we have Romania. So Romania has been also one of the first countries to introduce, alongside Bulgaria, studying medicine and dentistry abroad. And a lot of students have gone there. There's many universities, there's many options. And again, it's just another path. It depends on you and your budget and several other things. We'll let Azad explain to you a little bit more about how he found Romania and how he's getting on now. So Azad.
Yeah, hello, Osman. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to obviously introduce myself and give you my experiences in studying in Romania as well. So first of all, I'd like to make some comments about personally from myself and my experience with Medlink students, how I become to know them and how we started to discuss about the option Romania and not other countries. Personally, I'd like to tell you that the opportunities studying abroad in Europe mainly is very important because it gives you a lot of different aspects in terms of medical school and exposure clinically and so on. So I'll move on to that in a bit. But first of all, I'd like to thank Medlink. First of all, Dr. Sami, the founder of Medlink, as well as Osman, who is actually the first one who I spoke to, who helped me and handle with the application, with the admission and everything. So there again, I want to thank you again for this. In terms of the life in Romania, it's quite interesting. It's different. Like I came from UK, it's quite different, but you get used to it in no time because people over here are, they live life quite differently and they love socializing part of life. It's less stressful in my opinion. And the people, it's easy to hang around with and to get to know it and make friendship and so on. As well as living in here is also a great opportunity because it will help you to build as a person, as personality-wise, character-wise. You can develop on yourself while you are studying medical school as well. So while you're learning at the medical school, you're also focusing and having interest and concentrating on yourself as well, because you are obviously more independent while you are studying by yourself than being at home with your family, friends, and so on. Now, in terms of the university in Romania, specifically the one that I'm in, currently I'm in third year medical school of Craiova. This university is a very good university, and I'm not saying this just to brag about it. I live in it and I know how experiences, how the professors and the way the system works. So obviously the professors, once they get to know you, the number of students in this university is quite low compared to other universities. And this is a great opportunity. Why? Because it gives you the opportunity to get to know your professors and to get to know almost all the students in the year that you are in, and also all the other years as well. Obviously, that also depends on you, how social of a person you are. And being obviously more social, you'll get some more into that medical school with many more students. You get to know each other. Now, the way this university works is that in every year we have the year leaders, and also there are subgroups with the subgroup leaders as well. Obviously, I was appointed to be the year leader as well from the first year up until now, but I didn't want to take that because as a person, I'd rather be exposed to the medical, medicine in the clinical side of it, because that's the most important part when you graduate. So my advice to all of you students, the ones who are graduated or thinking of medicine, dentistry, whatever it is, the most important, obviously the theory matters, because from the first and the third year, from first up to third years is basically the theoretical part, and thereafter is the clinical. So you need to be ready for that, to expose yourself to more clinical side of medicine, because when you graduate, when you go into the business, the real game starts then. So it's important to get yourself to know with the professors and all the other colleagues of yours as well in the hospital, as well as in the medical school, because that will help you to build as a doctor and as a person as well, and it will help you in your future pathway as well, wherever you want to go, to UK, US, or whatever. And finally, I'd like to say settling in the city was not easy for me, for sure, although I'm a very sociable person and I'm pretty sure of this, but still it was not easy. And without Medlink, I don't know how I would have been able to do this, because they introduced me friends, and thereafter obviously it's like a chain reaction for me. I made many more friends, and now I know almost all the students in my school, almost all the professors as well. And one of the very good opportunity of studying abroad is that you can actually go into the hospital from second year onwards if you want to, and if you have the good relations with the professors, you can go and get exposed to the clinical side of the medicine. And of course, if you can show some passion and some willingness to do this. I think I've covered most of the things. If you do have any questions, please drop it in the QA section. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So Osman, I'll give it back to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Azad. Yes, he brings up a very good point. Azad, very inspirational story. It does have its challenges, like everything. Of course, medicine is challenging, it's tough, it's difficult, but is a very rewarding and fulfilling course. Yes, Azad, very good point with regards to settling in and getting to know the country and making friends and meeting people. It can be overwhelming at first, but that's why we are here. We are here, we're doctors, we're students on the ground. We're like you, we've been through this. That's why we set up this. We set up this organization with the sole purpose of facilitating and streamlining everything for you. So you can just come, be happy, enjoy the place, enjoy the opportunity, experience the challenges and get fulfilled by them rather than sit in a queue doing your documents, legalizing stuff. You can go party, have friends, meet people, go out, enjoy your experience while abroad, and we'll take care of all the bureaucratic, all the paperwork, all the processes that are necessary. So that way we help you, we introduce you to friends, we introduce you to established students that have been there many years, such as Azad, for example. If you go to study in Romania, Azad will meet you, Azad will give you some tips on where to go, where not to go, all the insider tips basically that you wouldn't otherwise have gotten. So we'll go on to discuss the next opportunity. Another popular option has been studying in Bulgaria, and lots of students inquire with us and ask us, what's it like studying in Bulgaria? Can I speak to a student? Do I need an entrance exam? All these kinds of questions. And it's a great country, and it's got great people, really nice, friendly atmosphere. I know because I pursued dentistry in Varna University in Bulgaria. But I will let Nikita come on and tell you a little bit more about her experience as a third-year medical student who we helped 3 years ago. So how are you getting on today, Nikita?
Yes, thank you, Osman. So, yeah, like Osman said, I'm a third-year medical student at Varna University, and I guess I'll just start off about talking about the structure of the program. So, like the universities, the first 2 years are purely theoretical, whereas third year to sixth year it becomes more clinical. So, for example, I've been in the hospital this year, so I've been exposed to patients. And I think my main worry was that I came straight out of A-levels, and I hadn't got a place in the UK, and so I researched my opportunities, what options I had, and I came across Medlink and I came across Osman, and he helped me throughout the whole getting in process, the admissions, helped me with the entrance exam, which was just purely biology and chemistry. So if you know this for a good standard up to your A-levels or secondary school knowledge, that's more than enough. And even now, I'm still getting help from Medlink for whether it's in different subjects through contacts with elder years. And another one of my worries was, again, the language barrier. So in Bulgaria, they don't speak English, we speak Bulgarian, but you are exposed to Bulgarian lessons within the course, so that's a really big help. And about the culture as well, it's not just Bulgarians that you're learning alongside, you've got lots of different nationalities, whether it's German, Greece, Italian, Wales, Scottish. So you're not learning just about Bulgarian, you learn about different other cultures as well, which is really great. And I'd also like to talk about the access and transport in Bulgaria. So everything is really accessible on foot, and even if it's not on foot, you can get taxis, which you have no problem getting. You can get them online off the app, and the taxi drivers, they also speak English as well, so you have no language barrier there. And because I'm in Varna, although I'm pretty sure there's so many other good views in Plovdiv, Sofia, Plevin, but in Varna we have the beach here, so aside from university, lots of students, they go to the beach to play volleyball. We have different societies such as football societies, basketball societies, and even now there's new medical societies coming out. And this is great for Bulgaria because we have an opportunity to branch out to other universities, whether they're in Bulgaria or other international universities, and we can make more contacts that way as well. And about the technology in Varna University itself, it's always upgrading. So I know in University Hospital, we've got new PET machines, CT machines, and in the university itself for the older years, it's really becoming emerging because we have new simulators that we can practice our clinical skills on, so that's great as well. And like Amy said as well, the living costs in Bulgaria, they are really, really cheap in comparison to other places. So it depends on your social life. But again, I'm spending maybe £20 a week for social activities, whether it's going out to restaurants for a coffee or maybe go-karting if I feel like that as well. So there's lots of things to do here. We've got the beach in summer, the mountains to ski in the winter. So we're great. And I'll be happy to answer any more questions in the Q&A, but I'll hand it back to Osman now. So thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Nikita. Nikita, you bring up some really good points. A lot of students ask us about the facilities available in hospitals and universities when they come abroad. You know, medicine is the same wherever you go, whether you study in the UK, in the USA, in Bulgaria, wherever you study in the world. You're studying the same stuff, you're studying the same content. And the majority of universities here in Europe, they use American books, British books. So these kinds of textbooks, they're used all over the world because mainly, for example, Grey's Anatomy is an American book. These kinds of the foundations of all these disciplines. And then on top of this as well, you have access to a huge facilities in all the hospitals where you will be able to practice and apply everything that you've learned in theory in the first 2 or 3 years of medicine. So then you get exposed to new diseases that you wouldn't have seen in your home country, which a lot of students find fascinating. You'll also explore new methods that are not used in other countries. And then you can go and be a pioneer in your home country, introduce them to these methods. This is medicine. Medicine is a constantly advancing career and a constantly advancing profession. Everything is moving very fast. So these universities, they keep up with these advancements, they find the latest equipment, and they make sure that you will learn all the fundamentals that you need to know as a doctor. Obviously, you're not going to be working with a surgeon, a robot making surgery. This is maybe found in 2 or 3 facilities in each country, but you will have the foundations, like Nikita is saying, CT scans, and learn all the essential stuff that you need to know in order to work and be competent as a doctor when you go home. So you don't have to worry about being lacking knowledge or being behind. In fact, you might find yourself even more advanced than other students from your home country. I mean, doctors from your home country who studied as well. And at the same time, you're having the opportunity to pursue what you've always loved, even if you weren't able to pursue it at home. So we'll talk a little bit about Poland as well. Poland is another opportunity that has come recently as a popular option as well. Studying in Poland, there are some really nice universities in Poland, like Białystok University, which is a picture shown here. Białystok University is a really pretty place and it has a really nice campus. The university has recently been popular as well with UK and German students and international students as well. We've recruited many students for this university and they chose that it was the most suitable for them. We also have Silesia, for example, in Poland, in the south of Poland. These are really popular, 2 popular universities that a lot of students ask us about. So you can study medicine, for example, in Białystok, it's 6 years, or you can study in Silesia, medicine and dentistry. And you can learn more about these options and the paths and which universities offer what on the website as well by going to medlinkstudents.com and then clicking universities. The tuition fees usually range. It's around £10,000 or 11,000 euros. Sometimes it can be a little bit more. It depends on the university and the course as well. Sometimes dentistry is usually a little bit more affordable than medicine, for example. There are graduate entry opportunities. However, these work in a very special and specific way where it's based on recognition of subjects. Now, the recognition of subjects path is basically, like we spoke earlier when I spoke about graduate entry, is based on recognizing credits. And when you've done bachelor's, for example, in biomedical science, this is similar to a pre-med, which is, for example, in America, they do pre-med, and in the UK, we do Bachelor of Science. So these kinds of higher education diplomas, you can pass on credits and get exempted from certain subjects. So you can shrink down the course to less than 6 years, whether it can be 5.5 years or 4.5 years. It depends on how much credits you can get equivalated, and we can speak to you about this. So it depends. It's a very specific kind of topic, and it's really important that we see your transcript in order to advise you on how to maximize your potential of equivalating as much subjects as you can. So I'll ask Edmund, who is our senior advisor, who speaks to many students and helps them find the universities that would suit them based on their entry requirements. So it depends what you have. If you have a GCSE, an A-level, a BTech, an access course, or a high school diploma, or a IB diploma, international baccalaureate, there's so many paths. So that's what Edmund specializes in. Edmund usually assesses your qualifications and then tells you which universities would be the best fit for you to qualify for. So Edmund, would you be able to expand a little bit on this and the entry requirements?
Yes, absolutely. So most of the students that we speak to will have already tried to perhaps get into medical school in their country or dental school. And as you probably know, it's quite competitive in these countries, especially in the UK, and there are less seats for the students that actually apply. So some students might get, demoralized by this, and give up from trying. So instead of actually giving up on this, most students might sort to look at other options abroad. And the requirements in Europe are actually really quite simple, very straightforward. They require a high school diploma. So in the UK, for example, you have A-level students, you might have students that have done a BTech, or in your country's schooling system. And you need to have satisfactory grades from, chemistry, biology, and physics or maths. Now, if you find that you don't have the best grades, so whatever that might be, C, Ds, whatever that might be, let's have a look. We have to assess, and we have to look at the areas where you suit best, or where we can actually look at the strong file that we can create for you. So some of the universities might have an entry test, which is great because it allows you as a student to really demonstrate your skills by showing them you've got the good knowledge in the sciences. And we also help you prepare for that. Some universities might just have an interview to really see who you are and really where your motivations lie. So it really depends on the university. Each university has specific requirements. And for the students who are applying this year, you are able to also apply with your predicted grades, and then you get your results in August. And the students who have already finished their A-levels or their BTech or whatever other qualifications you might have, let us take a look, and we'll prepare a very strong file for you to ensure that you are studying medicine this year. Because we know a lot of you students have been inspired to study medicine, and we want to do everything we can to make sure you can pursue that dream. Over to you, Osman.
Brilliant. Thank you, Edmund. So fantastic points, Edmund. Yes, exactly. Whatever your qualifications are, there's no harm in speaking to us. There's nothing that you're losing out on. Speak to us, and we'll try and help you and give you advice. And it's up to you to decide whether you'd like to pursue the path or not. There are opportunities available no matter what your qualifications are. As long as you have something that's acceptable, we can work with that and build a strong file for you. The great thing about studying abroad is that the universities are willing to give you the opportunity to prove yourself, even if you don't have the required grades, even if you're not an A-star student. The universities understand that students in their younger years, they make mistakes. Maybe they get distracted. So they're not always going to be A-star students. Maybe they get A's, maybe get the C's, maybe they get D's even. Some doctors have been able to pursue medicine with lower grades because the university offers them the opportunity, and they come and prove to the university by working hard, by being passionate, by being enthusiastic, and showing that they are in fact dedicated to the profession of medicine. And then that impresses the universities immensely, and it shows to the university that you are a serious student, even though maybe you're lacking in some areas. You are willing to compensate, and you are willing to work hard and prove that you can be a phenomenal doctor. And you can be. Who said you can't? You can be. Don't listen to maybe in your home country you got rejected or you didn't get accepted into your into the chosen university that you wanted to go to. But that's why we're here. We established this and organized this, founded this organization to give you the path, the opportunity, and then it's up to you to put in the work because medicine is hard. It's not easy. And whether you study in the UK or abroad or whatever, it's tough. You study the same stuff, you study the same content, and it's difficult, but you can get through it as long as you put your mind to it. So we'll talk a little bit about how we can help you. Many of our students have kindly described their challenges, what they found difficult going abroad, because there are difficulties. It's not easy, especially if you're doing it alone. Going to a completely foreign country, a country that you've never set foot in or spoken the language of, it can be difficult. Maybe you're feeling a little bit nervous, anxious, you know, you're thinking, oh, should I do it? Maybe I'm not ready, maybe next year, maybe another year, I'll try again at home, you know, because it's safer, it's easier. I know the language is English at home, but that shouldn't stop you. And the reason being is that I can tell you from my personal experience, I put off going abroad for 3 years. I kept applying at home in the UK over and over and over again. And it was very, very competitive. What I found is that going abroad, I wish I would have done it earlier because when I first started, I was a little bit older than the other students. So I always encourage students to just go for it, give it a go. And I always tell them, I guarantee you will love it, because even I came with a lot of hesitancy and nervousness, but I loved it at the end. I decided it is a really good path. And I always advise students and told them about what a great opportunity it is. And that's why we're here. As students, as doctors, as dentists and advisors, we're here to advise you and give you all this information initially. That's what free consultation is. It's more of a chat. You're not signing up for anything. You're just coming to hear about the experience, hear what opportunities are available for you, and then you decide what's best for you. We're just here to give you the options to help you decide on what's best for you, whether staying at home or coming abroad. And then we apply for you. We make a very strong file for you. And I'll ask Edmund to expand a little bit on this because he is one of the core people involved with making sure that you are accepted at university. You are, you have the maximum possible outcome by making sure that you have a strong file, because Edmund works with the admissions team, and the admissions team in Medlink Students prepare and process your documents to make you a very good potential candidate for the university. We then, when you come, we help you settle in. Like our students are saying, we help you by helping you with settling in, like getting accommodation, SIM cards, tours around the city, introducing you to other students as well, so you can make friends immediately. From the moment you land, you will be met maybe by a student or someone involved with students. So then they will build up quickly. You'll build up a network because you'll start to meet more students immediately, and that will put you at ease, so much ease. So you don't have to feel alone and away from home and away from family, because it can be difficult. But once you have the right support, there's nothing to worry about, because you'll have us, you'll have your friends, you'll have your students that you've met, and that support will continue for 6 years until the day that you graduate. And then our doctors will help you with signing up with the GMC or with the medical board in your country, wherever it is. Edmund, is there anything that you think I would have missed out here that you'd like to add?
Esmond, I think you couldn't have said it any better. A lot of the students who come to us are usually very nervous because they've been rejected by their home country. You know, they've tried so many times. So when they come to us, they want us to do the best we can for them. They will still be nervous and apprehensive about this, but all we ask is that you give us 1% of your trust, because we will take care of everything for you. Now, if the university you're applying to or you prefer to go to has an entry test, this is a perfect way to prove yourself. So leave that for us. We'll handle the application. And then all you need to do as a student is prepare for the test. We'll give you the materials as well, from all the study materials that you'll need, some of the questions and answers that do get repeated each year by the university to really help you ace that. And if it's an interview, we'll also give you some practice questions that may appear in the interview as well. And then we'll get to work for you. And we'll ensure that everything that we do is to make sure that you can study in the same year. You can join the students, the thousands of students like Azad and Amy, who are all abroad, to really pursue the dream that you want. Whether you want to become a dentist or whether you want to become a doctor, we'll do everything we can for you. And that's what we're here to do. So send us your stuff, let us have a look, and we'll discuss the best way we can create a stronger file for you.
Okay, thank you, Edmund. Yes, fantastic. Some fantastic information from you there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the costs. I see here the Q&A section is lighting up with questions about costs and tuition fees. So we'll talk to you a little bit. So here we've made a graph to show you basically how the costs ascend based on the country that you go to. Simply because students are smart enough now to see that whether you study in the EU or outside the EU, it doesn't matter too much, because you have to, when you go back to the UK, for example, do an exam called the UK MLA exam. You can read a little bit about this exam on our website by searching Medlink Students and UK MLA. The UK MLA is basically a registration exam that applies to everybody, even students in the UK as well, starting from 2024. So a lot of students have started to divert their attention to more economical universities rather than, for example, Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Poland. They found that it's more economical, it's a smarter option to go to Georgia, for example. And that doesn't mean just to go to any university there. You have to be very specific in your choice and hear advice and ask students about their experience. So here we've made a general kind of chart where you can see the tuition fees and the living costs. Now, I'm sure you can decide for the the tuition fees on your own, but I'll ask Amy to break down her living costs from a personal experience as a student herself, and tell you a little bit more about what she kind of spends money on.
Hi guys, so yeah, as you can see by this graph, so your tuition fee pretty much includes everything that you need to worry about regarding your course. Only if maybe you want to do like extra one-to-one classes where you have to pay a little bit extra. For example, I did some extra suturing classes because I just wanted more one-to-one experience, and that cost me I think it was like £10 for like a private session, which is much cheaper than, and that was like 3 sessions. And then apart from, so that's all your education and everything really sorted. And like Osman was saying about pick up from the airport, little things like that, you don't need to worry about. Medlink will organise that for you. So when you arrive, you don't have to worry about transport, etc. for the first few days. Medlink will put you in contact with estate agents, someone to pick you up from the airport, etc. And even a free SIM card at the start. So you don't even have to worry about the first month of phone credit. Then regarding accommodation, so we have hostels, which are really cheap, but most students here have an apartment, and you can pay anywhere between £250 to maybe £300 a month, or even more, like depends how much luxury you want. But like I said, I pay £280 a month, and that's for a whole place on my own. It's huge. I've got more space than I actually need. So yeah, that's what I pay. I do have a whole accommodation video as well. I'll put that in a link. Then regarding food, here it's very, very, very cheap. Sometimes it's actually even cheaper to eat out. And I pay around £20 to £30 a week for food and drinks, and sometimes even on socials as well, that can include. Regarding like nightlife and everything, I also did a recent video on nightlife. It's very cheap to go out. Most clubs here are even free. Drinks are very cheap here as well, if that's your kind of thing. Social life as well, we have the Students' Union now, and most of the events are free, or you just have to pay a little bit towards it. Thanks to Medlink for sponsoring events. And like little things like, I don't know, like going to the hairdressers. My mum's a hairdresser, so she won't let anyone touch my hair, but hairdresser's very cheap here. I've recently been offered a dentist student is going to check my teeth and polish them for me, so that's free because they're getting experience. So you know, that would cost me a lot in the UK. And then, yeah, that's basically all covered. And then you got maybe your flights once or twice a year, come back home. And that's it really. You can do it on a budget, £300 a month easily, or even less.
Brilliant. Thank you, Amy. Yes, that's very insightful. And that's why it's always good to meet a student when you come. And that's why we'll introduce you to a student like Amy, for example. And you will hear where to go, where not to go, where to buy cheap stuff, where to buy things that are cheaper in one place rather than the other. And generally the ins and outs of every city where you can be like a local, have someone who's like a guide to give you advice and help, someone who's willing to. Usually not all students are, however, our students are very willing to. They're always happy to help and look after new students. So that's why we tend to have on-ground support with students who will be with you from the day that from the hour that you land even, until you settle in, get into your apartment, find an accommodation that's suitable for you, which we will help you with as well. Yes, that's great from Amy as well. We do get involved with organizing events for you. For example, you see in the bottom left here, these are our students in Amy's university who were holding a practical session and learning some extra stuff on top of their own curriculum. It was OSCEs actually, and it's a very kind of British way of learning on top of what is being taught by the university. So there's plenty of opportunities to explore different avenues if you like to attend these kinds of things. There's also go-karting events that we make. There's many other events as well. And it's always good to remember that when you go abroad, because it's so affordable, you're coming with from a country where you have a cheaper currency. Usually you get much more for your money, so you can live in a very comfortable lifestyle. You can enjoy life as well, because this is the golden years for you studying medicine, because after this is all responsibilities and going to hospital and night shifts and all that. So it's really important that you enjoy it, and we make sure that you do enjoy it, because it's so important, because you're gonna have friends, you're gonna have people like a second family for you who are gonna be with you all the time. You know, your study group, your colleagues from the university. You'll meet and network with a huge international bunch of people from everywhere, from Japan, from China, from the UK, from Spain, Germany, whatever, America, Canada, lots of people from everywhere, even Australia as well. Lots of people come and study all in one place, and it's so nice to meet people and network with such a global community all in one place. There's so much to explore, there's so much to do. You never run out of these, you never get bored, you never have nothing to do, and you will never be alone, which is the most important thing. You will always have us or have your friends who are from the university. Everyone's in the same shoes. We've all been through what you're about to go through. It can look like it's daunting, but trust me, it's not. Maybe the first day or two will be a little bit difficult, but that's why we're here for. We're here to support you and help you as much as possible, so you're never, ever alone. Okay, so let's move on to the next stage. We'll talk a little bit about how universities in general have been adapting to the COVID situation. So I'll ask our own student Ashok from Dnipro Medical Institute how he's found the online studies, because there's been plenty of opportunities offered by the university, for example, where students have had British doctors teach there. They've had extra doctors by surgeons, and plenty of other opportunities. So Ashok, would you be able to expand a little bit on this?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Ashok.
Hi, thank you. Hi, hello everyone. My name is Ashok. I just want to touch upon a couple of things, and most of them have spoken about Romania and Bulgaria and Poland. I want to touch upon a few things before we could explain on the online studies, and also about the various other extra training programs that we've been offered. as you know, my name is Sajas. I'm from India. I wanted to undertake a medical degree in India, but it was nearly impossible. It's very competitive. The private education is quite expensive, so obviously, it's not easy to pursue a medical degree in India. So I live in the UK at the moment. So I think someone was mentioning about the age factor, that like they were quite mature, but I'm one of the matured students. So I did wanted to pursue medicine always in my career, but like it was impossible in the UK because it's as you know, it's very competitive and there are less number of seats, and there's hardly any opportunity for you to enter medicine. It's quite a lot of people who dream to be a doctor can never be a doctor, and that we've been waiting for many years. So I waited nearly 20 years in my life to do medicine, and I found this a great opportunity for me to study. I entered graduate entry last September 2020.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ashok. That is a fascinating and very inspiring story, especially for the mature students. It's never too late to pursue what you've always dreamed of pursuing, or to establish or find a new passion and new love for especially for such a rewarding and fulfilling career. And there are so many students like Ashok who are more mature, and they decided that, you know what, this is it. My time is now. I'm not going to postpone anymore. I'm going to do what I've always loved. And that's why Ashok is such a brilliant student. He's very well liked by his doctors, by his professors, because he shows passion, he shows seriousness, and especially because of his dedication at his age. So thank you for sharing that, Ashok. I think a lot of mature students will find that very inspiring, to build up the courage, to take that leap of faith and to jump into their dream. And I promise you, you will not regret it, because it's such a fascinating career, it's such a fascinating discipline to study, whether it's medicine, dentistry, and then to work in as well. Because the most beautiful thing that I always find is when I work on someone's tooth, for example, and fix their smile, and they look at the mirror and they're smiling so much and they're so happy. And it's the same for medicine students as well. As a student, you will get that opportunity. You will help someone alleviate their pain, make them feel better, remove, for example, something that they don't like. They will feel so grateful, and they will, lots of patients even have offered me money, and I say, no, I don't take money. Because they see that you have so much experience, they're shocked that you are able to help them, and you're able, as a student especially, you're able to give them so much simply because you studied, you dedicated yourself to the profession, and you gained all the essential skills that are gonna help you to make people's lives better. So don't delay, always go for it. The opportunity is there. Let's have a chat, let's speak to you. Speak to us, contact us, and we're more than happy to tell you about all the great things about pursuing medicine abroad and facilitating that process for you on that path, because it's available, it's there. You might as well take advantage of it. So I'll move on to the next slide about Brexit. For our UK students, I know we have a lot of international students today with us, but for our UK students, or anybody that wants to practice in the UK, whether they're from the UK or not, I will ask Edmund, because he is one of the experts on this, to describe and tell you a little bit more about how Brexit impacts your degree with studying abroad.
Thank you, Osman. So I guess there are lots of questions that are always raised and concerns as to, will my degree be accepted by the medical council when I come back? Because ultimately, you've gone out, you've done the degree, you're now a doctor. Now, will Brexit stop you from getting your registration? The answer is no. Currently in the UK, if you study in the UK, register with the medical council. Afterwards, you go and do your foundation years 1 and 2. Now, if you study within the European Union, currently, there is no automatic recognition of the degree. So you have to come back, you go through the procedure with the medical council, and then you register. Students who come back to the UK must sit the PLAB exam, which is a licensing exam. Very straightforward. And then following that, you register. Now, what the General Medical Council are doing is introducing a common approach exam, which is something that they had been discussing for quite a while. This is called the UK Medical License and Assessment. This is for everyone. So whether you study in the UK or whether you studied abroad, EU, outside the EU, it doesn't matter where, everyone is required to sit this exam. And after that, you will be able to register for your license to practice. Now, it's a straightforward exam, 2 parts. The first part is the multiple choice question, which is called the applied knowledge test. And then the second part is the clinical professional skills assessment. And what the reason why the GMC are introducing it is because there was a survey conducted by patients. And all they wanted was to see that all the patients that get treated are really examined, or they go through some sort of medical licensing exam across the board. So the GMC introduced this as a way to set a common threshold for safe practice, meaning that before you see a patient, you need to have been assessed. And they will feel more comfortable with that because they know the medical council know this and they've assessed your knowledge. So Brexit or no Brexit, you will still be able to work in the UK, and the process is actually really streamlined. And the medical license exam is being introduced from 2024. So any student studying pre-2024 will go through the current process. And then after 2024, you'll go through the medical license exam, which will be quite straightforward. And it's an easy exam to really go through. And we say this because if you can't really demonstrate your skills to an examiner after being, in medicine for 4-6 years, then what have you been doing? So every student that comes back as a graduate will be able to sit the exam quite straightforward. And we can help with the GMC registration as well if you need anything from us.
Thank you, Edmund. Brilliant answer there. I hope that was informative for you guys. If you have any questions, again, feel free to send it in the Q&A. So the main question that students have is, am I going to be able to go back to my country and practice? And of course, it's the most important question for us as well. That's why we hand pick and vet every single university that we work with to give you as much information as possible so you can decide if the university suits you or not. And most importantly, if the university will be recognized in your country, because we want you to succeed, because your success is our success. We want you to be able to go back home to practice as a doctor, just like many of our students have done so far. Because we thrive on being able to provide you with this opportunity, but with the reward of being able to go home and practice what you've always dreamed of practicing. So we will always advise you and tell you about the universities and their recognition, and making sure that the universities are reputable universities, not universities that will all of a sudden, for example, go on the list of universities that are maybe accepted by the GMC. Our organization we try to be as transparent as possible because we went through this route ourselves. And who better to trust to give you advice on studying medicine and being able to go back home other than a doctor, a dentist, or somebody working with doctors and dentists. For example, Edmund, who's an advisor, who is constantly on the phone with students and checking answers with our doctors, with our dentists, to make sure that your degree will meet the criteria of acceptance set by the GMC, the GDC, whichever medical board across the world that you will have to apply and register with. So Edmund, how do you usually address this kind of question for students?
Thank you. So as Osman puts, quite very well. All the universities we work with, we carefully look at them because ultimately we want to make sure your future is also secure. There's nothing worse than going to a university and studying there and coming back and not being able to register with any medical council. So all the universities that we work with are recognized by many, many, many major countries in the world. But it's always important to understand where the student wants to practice, you know. We need to know where you're planning on going to. Perhaps we might have other students that have gone there, you know, and then we can connect you or help you understand what type of requirements you need to go there. But all the universities that we work with are recognized worldwide. For example, Dnipro Medical Institute is recognized in the UK by the Medical Council, recognized in Canada by the Canadian Board, and it's also recognized in Australia, in the US for students who want to practice there. And you can't even sit the medical license exam, the USMLE. So we always have to look at the universities to make sure that you can actually come back and register with the Medical Council. We look at the requirements and we look at the university to make sure that it meets. Obviously, we're not the Medical Council, but we have to ensure that the requirements are met when you come back to your home country. And if you come back to the UK, we can help you register with the Medical Council.
Yes, brilliant, Edmund. Thank you very much. That's why we have specific universities that we tell you about, that we always encourage you to look at and research for yourself rather than other universities, for example. Same with Georgia. We listed that one university because we can vouch for the quality, for the recognition. For example, the European University of Tbilisi has a permanent accreditation by the WFME. And these kind of reputable signs that show a university is a good university. And it's always good to speak to someone who's experienced in the field, someone who, such as Edmund, who is liaising constantly with our doctors, who gets always firsthand experience, firsthand knowledge from our doctors, who know a lot about recognition and being able to go back home and the criteria of acceptance. That's why we list very specific universities and we tell you the positives and the negatives. So always get in touch with us. It's worth a chat just to get our insight and our advice, because we want you to succeed. We want you to go back home and be able to practice as a doctor, not to have the challenges, not to have the difficulties. And we can tell you based on what our students tell us, what our doctors tell us as well. So going back home from, as Edmund covered in a lot of detail earlier, going back home as a doctor or a dentist, if you get a degree from the EU, you can generally practice anywhere in the EU as long as you speak the language of the country. For example, you graduate from Bulgaria, you can go and practice in Germany, but you need to be able to speak German, naturally, of course, so you can communicate with the patients. And it would be great because you would have already picked up on the language in your country as well, such as Bulgaria, for example, or Romania. You would have picked up on the language and learned a bit, and it looks great on your CV. Now, the question is, why do a lot of students go to non-EU countries recently? The reason being is that even if you go to a non-EU country, it doesn't mean that it's harder or it's going to be impossible for you to go back home or go back to an EU country or go to America or anywhere. Usually there's only one extra step or very few extra steps. And these are very straightforward and basic, and we will help you with gathering the right documents and preparing for the registration exam that usually you have to sit. For example, in the UK, whether you practice in the EU, whether you study in the EU or non-EU, it doesn't matter anymore. If you study in Georgia, for example, you can go back to the UK. You just have one extra step, and that's to prove that you are genuinely someone who genuinely passed and studied medicine. And it's quite straightforward, the exam. Lots of students pass it. And that's why if you look at your country, wherever you come from, you're always going to find foreign doctors. If it was impossible, or if it was harder, there would not be foreign doctors. And generally, every country in the world needs doctors, especially with what has happened recently with the pandemic. A lot of people, governments, they appreciate doctors, and they have come to see that they are a necessity for society. So that's why a lot of countries are trying to attract people to become doctors, whether abroad, whether at home. and attract them to come and practice in their country as well, such as the UK, for example. So it's quite straightforward. You just have to sit an exam called the UK MLA exam upon returning back to the UK. And then that will allow you the opportunity to register with the GMC and to start practicing as a doctor. Now, Edmund, you answer this question on a daily basis. Is there anything that I missed out here?
Yes, actually, I wanted to add something. I think most students that come to us think that if you go to countries like Germany, Italy, Sweden, France, as compared to someone that goes to Ukraine, the degree will be kind of regarded in a kind of a higher prestige than one that goes to Ukraine. But this is not how the medical councils work. When you come back, you are assessed on an individual basis, no matter where you go to. So your degree in Italy wouldn't be looked highly upon than someone that goes to a university in Georgia. All you'll come back to do is have your degree assessed by the medical council to make sure that you meet the standards of the UK. Wherever you go to, they will do the exact same. All the medical councils want to make sure of is that you've just met the criteria, which is stated on their website. So for example, in the UK, the medical council want to make sure you've studied for a minimum, if you're doing postgrad, for 3 years, or 5 years if you're doing undergrad, and if the university is listed in the World Directory. And again, they will look and see whether the university you studied 5,500 hours in total. So the requirements are actually there. We have to make sure that you meet that requirement when you come back to the UK. So wherever you decide to go and study, whether it's Georgia, whether it's Poland, whether it's Romania, when you come back, the assessment will be the same. And you're going to be doing the medical license exam. And that's what will matter. So it's okay to go abroad. These are all safe countries for you to study too. Over to you, Osman.
Brilliant. Thank you, Edmund, for that contribution. If you have any questions, just ask us in the Q&A section. All right, so final slide before the Q&A. We will discuss the opportunity to be able to practice, to do your rotation in your country. A lot of students come to us and they ask, can I do my rotation in my country instead of going to do it abroad? So of course you can, yes. Some universities have been understanding enough to try and provide such an opportunity, and that's what we keep going on about. There are so much opportunities, so many paths to choose from. Students that would prefer to do their elective, their rotations in their country are free to do so as well. And students who prefer to do it in the country where they studied are also free to do so. So it depends which university you choose. Some universities will allow you this opportunity in the final year. Some will allow you to do it in the 4th, 5th, and 6th year. So it depends on the universities. For example, in Georgia, this is a possibility at the moment where students can do their rotations at home as long as they provide a letter from their hospital, signed and stamped by their doctor, explaining that they did do it, and where an assessment sheet is signed as well by the doctor to show that you did learn, you did attend. And it does provide a lot of opportunity for you to learn and to practice in your own country, which is a great and enriching experience. And it's up to you to decide on this, whether you want to do it at home or in the country that you study in, that you go and study in. All right, so let's move on to the Q&A section. I see the Q&A section has been on fire today. Lots of questions. So we can start off by asking Edmund, what kind of questions, do you see any questions you'd like to answer, Edmund?
Yes, I think this ties in also with the question that was asked. Are all the universities offered by Medlink accredited by the GMC, allowing graduates to practice? So one thing to clarify as well is that all the universities outside of the UK aren't accredited by the Medical Council, the GMC. The universities within the UK are accredited. The reason being is because they are regulated by the Medical Council, and they control how the curriculums are taught in the universities and how all the universities are regulated. by the Medical Council. Anything that comes back into the UK is recognized through a series of requirements. And so the universities that we work with, yes, they are. If there is a university that isn't, we will then tell you, we'll be very upfront so you get a better understanding of which universities, which risks to look at, which ones not to look at. But the answer is that yes, the degrees are recognized by the Medical Council or any other ones that you might decide to go to. We just need to have a chat with you, understand where you're planning on going, and give you an advice on where or what to look out for.
All right, thank you, Edmund. Yes, it's very important to understand that the word accredited is different than recognized. Accredited means that in your country, it's regulated by the Medical Council and it's automatically accepted. If the Medical Council does not regulate a university, they will ask you, can we see your transcript? Can we see your diploma to check that you are a genuine doctor? So that's what recognition means. That's why you apply for registration, to be recognized as a doctor. So these are two terms that you should be aware of the difference between. All right, I see Amy has has requested to answer some questions as well. Amy, what kind of questions are you getting?
Quite a few, guys. I think AJ, you were talking about how did you find the switch from going from my undergraduate degree to medicine? At first it was quite a big shock, like the workload is, it's quite significant, but as soon as you get organized, you know where you are, especially with online learning, getting used to a new format of learning. Medicine is very independent. You have to be motivated and keep on top of it. Once you've got all your resources sorted, which Medlink also help with, you're fine. And I found having my background in biochemistry has really helped some students. And also it's quite nice having other students who say have done a pharmacology degree and they help me with like the pharmacology. And so it's quite nice you work with students like that because you're with people from all different backgrounds. So I think AJ, oh no, you didn't say what you've done. Oh no, you did human physiology, which was, yeah, that's a great background to have, definitely. Another one from Belissa and Jessica. Could you explain how online classes work, like the courses? You have a medical biology degree. So online classes, basically we have an online portal, which is where all our resources are mainly, but also you get sent resources for each subject individually as well. So technically you can do it without the portal. And then you mainly do like, you prepare for classes on your own, like lecture material, etc. Most of them are like recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so you can review it at your own leisure, which is a bit like going, like I remember at my previous university watching like Blackboard recordings. It's exactly the same. You can pause it, make notes, and then you come to your practical class and discuss it with the teacher like that. And that's mainly how it works for most classes. Or the teacher will teach you something in the class, then you answer questions and interact like that. And yeah, like so I've done like basically the whole of my first year this year online and had a few offline classes. I think that links into Elle's question, who said you've applied to Dentistry, the first year's online, and now you're saying that I have offline classes, that the quarantine restrictions have been changing. Basically, the whole course when I came here was meant to be offline, but because quarantine was introduced here, and because most of the lecturers here are actually working in hospitals, so you would go and have the lesson with them in the hospital. And at the moment, you can't go in the hospital because of COVID. So the offline lessons I have been having have been in like a private building, just full of classrooms. Still a really good experience, like with the teacher, like small classes, it's like 15 of us learning, but you can't go into the hospital, so they can't let offline lessons happen at the moment in the hospital. And then Anna, you had a question, does Dentistry accept online study? So basically Dentistry, I think I'm right in saying that it's one of the only universities that has now the full the first 3 years online that you can do. So even after COVID, you can still do it online. Osman can confirm that with me. But I think that is the way it works. So basically before, there was a thing before, like that online learning wouldn't be like recognized, but that was before COVID happened. Now after COVID, they've had to accept online learning because it's the only way you can learn at the moment. Yeah. And then Felix, you said, how are exams organized online? So mainly they're through like they are through oral assessment, so just the teacher asking you questions orally, and that's the best way for online learning because you can cheat otherwise. So orally shows you're engaging, you actually have learnt the material. And there's also we normally do like MCQs through like Google submission forms, so it's mainly like that. And I have had a few offline practical exams as well, which have been fun. I think there are the main questions that I had. The hospitals. I haven't actually been inside the hospitals. However, like lots of people can help you. And once you arrive in the country, you start learning and picking up the language, etc. So yeah, you pick up the language. But yeah, there is always that language barrier as well. Yeah, I think that's about it, Osmond.
Thank you, Amy. Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. I see lots of questions for you. Thank you for your help and for giving these students your insight. Just some points I want to add on top of what Amy said. The recordings, yes, they may be recorded by the teacher or by one of the students, but some teachers will not, some teachers will not record. Sometimes they prefer that students come and attend in person because so it's better you don't assume or think that all the classes are recorded where you can just watch the recordings. It's really important that you attend because the university tries to simulate a offline kind of structure as much as possible by taking attendance, by ensuring that you come on time, you attend, you contribute in the class. For example, we've all seen the memes and the funny videos of people sleeping while doing Zoom classes. There's none of that. It's very serious. It's medicine. You're coming to study medicine. You have to be fully engaged, and it's simulated as much as possible to offline studies. So yes, Amy is correct that some classes are recorded, but not all. It's another thing as well. Amy was mentioning that you should prepare in advance for classes. It's really important because in order for you to retain and learn all the new information, you should come with the foundations and the base of what you expect to learn. So the teacher will say, for example, next lesson, we're going to learn about heart disease. So you'll go and research that specific topic and then come, ask your questions, and then discuss in an advanced way because medicine is only 6 years. And as you know, each specialty is 4 or 3 years. Some specialties are even 5 years. You cannot specialize as a cardiologist in a 6-year medicine degree because you also have dermatology, you have gynecology, you have all the other disciplines. So remember, medicine is crammed into giving you the foundations and the base. So it does include independent learning. Don't expect to come and be just told what you need to study and what you need to learn and what you need to know. The teachers do expect you to make your effort, put in your contribution and try to do your part as well. And the teachers, as everyone here has been saying, in Europe have been extremely supportive of the international students. They understand it's difficult for you. You've come abroad, you've come to a different country. They understand it's difficult for you to learn the language. But they, of course, would like you to learn a couple of words at least so you can say hello to the patient or say, open your mouth to the patient, something very small, which is very easy to pick up, 1 or 2 words. But the teachers will translate for you, will help you, will support you. They are there to help you and make sure that you have all the right support that you need. And you will pick up the language, whether you like it or not. You're living in an atmosphere where you're surrounded by all that language, that foreign language. So you will pick it up and it will become very easy. No matter how, when I came abroad, I thought I will never learn the language. I made 0 effort to learn the language, but on my own, I picked it up. You just can't not pick it up. You will pick it up because you will hear it everywhere. And even though lots of people speak English, you will still pick up the keywords. All right, we don't want to stay too long. Edmund, you've picked up a couple of questions as well you'd like to answer. Go ahead.
Yes, it seems obviously we're giving a lot of attention to all the medical students. Someone's obviously asking whether what the process is registering with the Dental Council in the UK. Actually, registering with the Dental Council is very, very easy. Currently, if you study, say, in Bulgaria or Romania, the registration, there are no exams you have to take. If you study in Georgia, then you have to sit an exam called the ORE, which stands for the Overseas Registration Exam. Now, currently, as we are, we're in Brexit now, we entered Brexit January this year. What the Dental Council are doing is, the rules within the European Union states that a student that comes back into the country or within the EEA doesn't need to be tested. So now that we're out, the General Dental Council are introducing, or will be looking to introduce, the ORE exam for everyone. So this is students within the European Union as well. So coming back to the UK, every student from 2023 will be required to sit the ORE. And there are two parts to it. The first part is a computer-based multiple choice question exam. And then the second one is the practical one, where you demonstrate your skills in a dental chair, basically. And then after that, dentistry is 5 years in Georgia. You'll go and register, and then you do your foundation training, which is where you really work as an NHS hospital to demonstrate your skills, to show that you are indeed a graduate who has the skills to practice. And that's all you have to do. So it's quite straightforward, really. And after that, you can look into doing your core training, which is where you start looking into your specialist training. So for all the students who are looking to do dentistry, if you end up going to Georgia, you can still work in the UK. And the General Dental Council only requires two things from you: how many hours you studied dentistry in the rotations, and that's 1,600 hours of rotations. These normally appear in your final 2 years, and then the ORE exam. The General Dental Council don't have a list of universities that they accept. They just have a requirement. You just need to fulfill that, and that's all you need to do. Back to you, Osman.
Thank you, Edmund. That's very insightful. Ashok, you have some questions you'd like to answer.
I think I've got a couple of questions. One was to Amy and myself together, but I think it's Elle or somebody who's asked, how does a typical week look like in year 3 in Dnipro? I think, can you hear me? Can you guys
can hear you. You
Yes.
answer that one,
okay,
Ashok, yeah.
So year 3 is the most hardest one in medicine for the first 3 years of theory. So the week looks like a blend of theory and practice. So you've got 1 theory lessons, and the same theory lessons will have a practical lesson as well. So when we had offline lessons, we used to go and then the teacher will give you some assignments, some case studies. You will do some case studies, and some case studies could be from USMLE case booklet, or some could be from related to PLAB, or it could be related to being in actual medical practice. So the typical week looks like a theoretical session with the practice session of all the subjects. So right now we've got around, like, I think 7 or 8 subjects. We've got medical and non-medical subjects, so we cover both theory and practice during the week. Sometimes we also have simulation classes where we go and do that in the hospital. So that's also there. So you will get 3 hours here and there, but you will be very busy. Either you'll be in the class, or you will be studying, or you'll be doing your assignments. So 3rd year is full on. So you can be a bit relaxed in the 1st year. So you get really serious in the 2nd year. 3rd year is really, really important because you're going to consolidate everything in the 3rd year. So whatever you've learned in the 3rd year. So that's how a week looks like. If Amy wants to add anything. Another question from Martin. to say how he wants to end the third year, and whether would you be covering everything from the first 3 years, the answer would be yes, because you come with a bit of a background. So you have a biology background, you also have a chemistry background. With a person like me who has done plant science, which is completely different from animal science, which was 25 years ago, and I've done psychology, and then I completely in an arts program. But if you have the interest and the aptitude and the will to do it, you could always catch up, actually. So even people who are doing the first year and second year theoretical theories, they might forget even in the third year. So going forward, so medicine is about revision, constant revision every year, every semester. And when you come into clinical years, you still have to learn anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry. So there's no way that like you finish those things and then you're off biochemistry and you're off biology. Yes, I did catch up with everything. So, but you've got 1 year to catch up. So if you're in the third year, so you have an existing subjects, but most of the subjects are interrelated to each other. And if you have the interest, it's much easier. So you have to work very hard in the third year and to have a strong base to move into the clinical years. So I think it's more like a cement and the brick. So if the brick is the first theory, and with the cement, you're trying to cement the building. So it is full on in the third year. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ashok. Very insightful always, Ashok. Very detailed. I'm sure lots of students love that. Edmund, you have another question you said you would like to answer.
Yes, a student was asking whether it was compulsory to sit an entry test in Bulgaria. The answer is yes. All the medical schools in Bulgaria require an entry test of basic biology and chemistry test. Very simple test, usually A-level standards. But to help you ace that, we'll give you the materials you need. This is quite straightforward, and most of the students that are doing the A-levels this year will have a very good knowledge in the sciences. But to help you with this, we'll give you all the materials you need, all the study materials, and then you can ace the test. So yes, it is compulsory, but we help you with this.
Thank you, Edmund. I also see a good question here from Anna. She asks, can someone explain what you mean by students studying independently? Yes, of course. Studying independently is a core essential thing for studying medicine. Whether you study in the UK, in USA, in Europe, it's all the same. You have to also put in your effort and put in your bit. You cannot rely on the teachers teaching you cardiology in, let's say, 1 year of classes or 2 years of classes, or even 3 years, because you also have other subjects to focus on. So by studying independently, what does that mean? The teacher will provide you with a topic, they will give you some resources, and they will tell you, go read in this book on this topic, and then come prepared for the next class. You come prepared for the next class, then you discuss it. Some teachers prefer to discuss on a problem-based learning kind of approach. Some people will do their presentation and then ask you what you learned, or what you don't agree with, or what you read, because medicine is a kind of also, it has different views. For example, one doctor might prescribe this, another doctor might prescribe that, and it's all about problem solving and discussing. So you come prepared, you read before the classes, you don't just depend on the teacher to spoon feed you the information. So that's what independent learning is. And you combine independent learning with normal didactic learning, which is done in the classroom. And that is a very powerful combination that will ensure that you are very successful in your studies. Is there any other question that anyone on the panelists would like to answer at all before we close off? Because we have 3 minutes to finalize and conclude. It seems
there's one question, Osman.
Yes.
I think somebody is worried about, which I can explain. I think from Joe Mohan, which talks about, I'm not worried about year 4, 5, and 6, which are clinical years. Only worrying about year 3. how about the assessments carried out when I'm doing online a graduate entry in Dnipro? I can explain that. So I am a graduate entry student in Dnipro. So what happens is, like, the lecturers give you a topic. It's divided into the whole semester. So you've got like 15 topics are divided into weekly sessions, and they give you the topic beforehand, so which you prepare and then come and discuss in the classroom. So which means that you're covering like that of any other student in the third year. So there's nothing wrong in the graduate entry there, because you're also in par with the other students who have done first year, second year, and third year. Don't let that put off, because you're preparing the answers like anybody else, one. And secondly, there are a lot of supportive sessions which happen throughout the course. Some peer mentoring sessions where the senior students will guide you on anatomy and physiology and biochemistry. So you have to do additional studies to equip yourself to keep up to the standards of that is required for completing the third year. So when you finish third year, you have to be theory rich, but don't be put off by even that. I'm not extremely good at theory, but I'm trying to catch up. But there is always a possibility for you to catch up some of the sessions in the fourth year, fifth year, and sixth year when you're doing practice. So coming into a graduate entry can be anxiety provoking, but how you can counter that is to keep up with the existing curriculum, that is existing studies, and you have to do some extra studies as well if you're doing online. Whether online or offline, it doesn't matter, but the teacher will still be watching you, and the teacher will still be teaching you, and you will still be able to interact like that of offline classes. The only advantage in offline lessons is like you are able to see the teachers face to face, and then you can also ask few questions, go with the extra time and things like that, and you also get to experience the hospital atmosphere there. So with online, it doesn't make any difference, but you can ask questions, so don't worry about it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ashok. Really good answer there. I see a lot of people are asking so many questions. I wish we could stay longer and answer all your questions, but unfortunately time is running out. I will answer one more one I see here. Year 4, 5, and 6 are a mix of theory and practicals. Are the lectures also held online? So after the year 4, mostly everything, most of the course is going to be practical. It's going to be mostly hospital based. You're not going to be on campus at the university. You're going to be in the university's hospital. So most of that will be interactive, will be based on what the practical experience will be like in the hospital. So usually you'll be presented with a case, and then you go and see the patient, and that's what the lectures are, presenting cases, presenting things to prepare you for the hospital. So it's more, all of it is hospital based. So most of it is going to be a hospital. There's not much theory or lectures. But currently it was online because of COVID, and that's understandable because it's been a global pandemic affecting the whole world. So that's the case. So you need to attend. There are also lectures uploaded on the portal of, I assume you're asking about, for example, on the portals of each university, there are lectures. The universities that have portals online, they will have the lectures, they will have videos, they will have explanations and all that. So in that aspect, don't worry. You will have access to all the information that you need. All right, thank you everyone for attending today. It was a great, really good set of panelists. Thank you for all our students, for Edmund, for everyone that joined today, for all the attendees. We really appreciate that you stayed with us and you listened to all the advice and insight. We really hope that it does help you and does encourage you to take the next step. Contact us. We'll put you in touch with the student that you would like to speak with, for example, or if you'd like to get more information, to speak to our doctors, speak to our dentists, to speak to our students, get in touch with us on these numbers here and on our email or website. You can also download our free ebook about studying abroad and the universities and the options and how we can help you. There's so much resources that we offer you simply because we've dedicated our foundation, our organization, to giving you all the resources available to show you that the path is there, and all you have to do is take that leap of faith, take that leap of courage, and just go for it, explore the options, research the options. There are plenty of agencies out there that help students study abroad. Medlink Students, the reason Medlink Students has been so successful and the top of this for students, top choice for students, because we are a team of doctors, medical students, dentists, and people who are professionals who care about you and care about you being able to graduate and come back home. We won't just send you to any random university that we just find. We will handpick our universities and send you to carefully chosen universities. There are many other agencies out there, and whatever you ask for, I'm sure they can provide, or anyone can provide. But what's important is that you make an informed decision. You're going to be a doctor. You should be logical. You should be very careful, and you should research and find out information. And who best to find out this information from other than the source, the people that went and did it abroad, rather than a team of secretaries in London or wherever. We pride ourselves on making sure that we give you honest, transparent advice so you can make an informed decision on what's best for you. So get in touch with us. Let's have a chat. And whether you get in touch with us or not, we hope we made a difference for you. We hope that our advice, even one word or one sentence from our team here, has changed your perspective or made you even want to explore this option. So great job, everyone. You've done a fantastic thing by attending this webinar, and you are someone who's passionate about medicine. And that's why you stayed until the end. I congratulate you on this, and thank you to all our panelists as well, who have been kind enough to sit for 2 hours and volunteer their time and effort and energy to give you all this information. So great job, everyone. Thank you all, and have a great evening tonight. Good night.